Is it good?
No, it's not going. Oh, yes, now it's going. Fine. No, like, yes, 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 yes. No. So how are you guys?
We're sat in the hotel in Dakar.
Yeah, you look both a bit tired. If you're okay, we can start with some questions about the result of the Africa Rec race. So we want to know what happened because you presented a claim and you then you arrive at third. I know you, and honestly, I don't think you organized everything just to play like this in this way to win. Does really Lyndon need to do this?
Obviously, it's a really difficult situation, and it's hard to explain in one go. But like the whole race was filled with all kinds of excitement and things happening throughout the race, and positions changing, and winning stages, and having difficult stages, and the whole race was really a massive adventure. But what I will say is at the front of the field, it was quite competitive in the stages. Like I spent time racing with Palandas, Oliver and Alessandro Botturi, who I never imagined to be in that position, racing with those guys. But in the early stages when I just thought, right, I'm here, I feel comfortable, and I'm going to stay here and try and do well at this rally, and that's all I did. I just got my head down to do that. Obviously, at the front, it was very competitive, and it's not a joke. The race is a professional race. It's run under the FIM rules. There's FIM stewards there to make sure that everything is in place and everyone follows the rules. And when it came down to that last stage, I pulled up to the start line on the last stage and genuinely thought, right, I have, what was it, 180 kilometres? 180 kilometres to make some time on the guy in front of me to get third place, yeah, and that's all I set out to do. When we got to the start of the stage, I noticed that Paolo Lucci had motocross tyres on his bike. Well, motocross tyres in the general construct of them, the reason that a tyre for use in rally racing has to be E-marked or DOT approved because the rallies run on the public highways, and the reason that motocross tyres typically are not DOT approved is because the block height is more than the maximum for a road legal tyre, and more block height typically means more traction and control. So that was a bit like off-road, yeah, of course. And when I pulled up to the start line, I felt like, why has Paolo put motocross tyres on to gain an advantage in this last stage, which is 100% sand and dunes, And all the way through the stage, I just pushed hard and I did a good stage. And we got to the end of the stage, and I thought to myself, maybe it is legitimate. So I went to the FIM officials, and I asked them, my only question was, please can you verify that it's okay to use motocross tyres in Africa Eco Race, and to show me the supplementary regulations where it says that, because if they write it in the regulations, it's fine. Yeah. But then they couldn't show me that it was legal to do that, and because it's not in the regulations, they then referred to the FIM regulations, which clearly stipulate that it's not acceptable to use non-E-marked tyres for this race. And that the reason that rule's in place is to make it a level playing field in the field, yeah, with the tyres. So at that point, the FIM then said, okay, you can leave. There's nothing I could do from that point. They have to then make a decision what they do about it. And obviously the FIM want to make a decision with a jury of, I think there was 4 FIM officials at the race. They have to make a decision what to do about it. And my understanding is that using an illegal tyre at any motorcycle event is instant exclusion. And they obviously decided that that wasn't necessary, but they would give Paolo a penalty for it. And no discussion with me was had about the penalty or what it would be or anything. The penalty was just put in place. which obviously then pushed me up to third place and caused a huge controversy in the bivouac, and especially so amongst the Italian competitors, because they're a very close community, obviously racing together. And to finish the race in such a way, I think of an example. In 2001, Paul Edmondson, UK racer, he won the ISDE, completely won it outright, #1, and a protest was put in because he used an incorrect tyre and he was excluded from the event. So the race went to the second place. It's not something new, it's happened for years, and the Africa race is no different to any other race. It is run under FIM rules. We all have to have FIM licenses, we have to have FIM start permissions, and we have a set of strict regulations that we have to abide by. And if people are not abiding, I looked all the way through the Parc Fermé at the finish of the race, and all the bikes that were on the front row, there was about 30 bikes, all of them had FIM approved rally tyres on, other than Paolo's bike. And that felt unfair, especially since there was only minutes between us. And again, going into the stage, it felt unfair, because I knew there was a 200-kilometre stage of sand ahead of us. So that's how it came about. I asked the organisation, the FIM, if they could show me where it's acceptable to use it, and they couldn't, and then they make the decision what to do about it. It's an FIM jury decision.
If I could just add a little bit from my side, from what I saw, I was in the hospital that night when all of this went down and things, with the camel attack. So I don't really know. I wasn't there at the whole thing, but what I can say is just to help guys get some perspective on the race. The Africa Eco Race, some people like to think of almost romantically as like it's the old Dakar. It's all about camaraderie. It's all about a bunch of guys getting out there and surviving the desert together and stuff. And for a lot of us, it is that race. That's what it's like for me. I stopped and helped many other competitors around me. They helped me in return. We got our way through. But at the front of the race, for those first 10 or 15 riders, this is a serious race. This is a serious race. Guys are racing for sponsors. They're racing for livelihoods. It's cutting edge. And with any cutting edge event, whether it's football, whether it's motorsport, Formula One, whatever it is, they have very strict rules and very specific rules. And everybody knows that when you're at the top of the field, you need to know those rules back to front, inside out. You need to be a pro on that rule book. And so it's a horrible situation. When I heard about it and I heard about all the fallout and stuff, I was like, it's such a pity that it kind of ends with a sour taste in your mouth. But if you're going to race at the top end, the FIM, we expect them to uphold the rules to the T, not the spirit of the law, but the actual law. They have to keep it exactly right. If Lyndon's bike was discovered to be 500cc at the end or something like that, it would be a massive thing. And so you have to keep it right across the range. Everybody has to use the right fuel. You have to have the right size engine. You have to have the right tires. For a guy like me, it really makes no difference, But at the top end, they have to be strict. And so it's sad. It's sad the way it worked out. I think, but if one of my riders that had happened to them, I'd be upset and all of that sort of stuff. But as much as it would be upsetting, it's right, and the decision is right, and it's one of those where it is the right thing to have happened.
I think the main issue was how the claim from Lyndon's side was presented, what they thought you could have done. Because they said why the tire passed the homologation in Monaco and you kept the sort of secret for the entire race, and just at the last race you presented the claim. I think this was the strike that ignited the fire.
I can explain what I think how this happens. Okay, a rally bike is presented in Menton. Yeah. Typically, all the bikes go to Menton. They've got new tires on. They're fully fresh with fresh stickers, and they're ready to race. Yeah. Rally racing is brutal. Every single day, the wheels, the tires, all kinds of things, the oil, the filters, the hand guards, the navigation equipment gets broken, things get torn and replaced, and it's the team's responsibility to make sure that that bike is always in line with the regulations that it was scrutineered with at the start. And the actual supplementary regulations of the Africa Eco Race, the FIM regulations state that at any point during a race, a steward has the right to inspect any vehicle against those regulations. The reason for that is because the moment you drive away from scrutineering, your bike in a rally is under control of your team, or your rally, or if you're in Malimoto yourself. If you choose to do something which pushes that bike out of that regulation, then you're at fault and you'll be penalised for it. You know, the bikes can be changed after the scrutineering. It's the team's responsibility, or if they're in Malimoto, the individual's responsibility to ensure that that bike remains within the regulations the whole time through the rally. And I don't, whether that's Africa Eco Race, European Championship, World Championship, Dakar Rally, Cross Country Rally and the World Championship, any race at all, you have to abide by those regulations if the rally is run under those regulations, which the Africa race is.
I think just as a question, what he was asking, he was saying, did you know he was running illegal tyres on day one?
No.
Did you know that at all?
No.
Or you didn't know until you actually saw them only late in the race?
Yeah.
I only saw them later on in the race. So
Okay.
I didn't even know at scrutineering, and to be honest, I didn't even know Paolo Lucci at the beginning of the race. Obviously, racing with him throughout the race, you become aware of the people around you who you're racing with. But there was definitely no awareness at all of people using motocross tyres in the rally, full stop, until the end. So that's why it was only the question was asked to the FIM officials at the end of the race, because that's when I realised what was happening. That was it. And I don't know if he used them any other time in the race. I couldn't answer that question.
So as far as you know, you may have only used them that day.
The only evidence I have is that he used motocross tyres in the last day.
So you were not keep looking at these tires.
No.
Okay.
Because I would have no reason to question anybody. I mean, I just assumed everybody used FIM approved tyres in a race like this.
Also because I think you were focused on the race, and also it was impossible for you to plan everything from the beginning, keep the position, be always there, and just at the last race. In general, I don't like when everyone starts shooting like this, because you can report the news, but it's not on you decide or judge what have been done. There are a safety commission.
Absolutely. There was definitely no planning at all. It happened at the end of the race, and that was it. That's it.
So how do you feel now?
One thing that I'm really disappointed in is some of the comments that I've received from people without understanding the full situation. Some of the messages that I've received. I actually wanted to. I saw that, is it Gioli Mioni, Fabrizio's son, posted a letter, and I wanted to reply to that in my natural way, which is to understand it, think through what happened on the rally and why, and try to explain to everybody my side, because it certainly seemed like a lot of people have heard one side of the story, and I was getting kicked for something, which actually, the FIM are the people that penalised Paolo, not me.
Yeah.
And so that was quite hard today, especially because it's been a long day of responding to messages, and I owe everyone, all my fans and followers and people that follow me, asking me why and this and that, and I'm here today. I've now replied to every comment, private message that I've had about it, and I've also put a post on my media tonight to explain in reply to that letter, and just to read quotes that people are quoting other racers saying things, which is absolutely not true. So then I've approached those racers to say, look, I really would like to know if this is how you feel genuinely, and I'd appreciate if you're honest with me. And they've said, no, I've never said that. So things are being made up, and that's really disappointing.
I think we will find a way to speak with Paolo Lucci, understand his point of view, and try to bring the truth, because I got the possibility to talk with both of you different times, and with you, Lyndon, personally at EICMA, and honestly, I don't think you plan everything like this. It's not your style. That's what personally I think.
I absolutely, you know, a lot of the riders were telling me I have no respect for the other riders. I have respect for every single person in that bivouac, in the paddock, racer, and even Paolo Lucci. You know, he raced well. We had some great battles together. We had some fun times out on the stage. You know, this is not anything personal towards Lucci in any way. You know, it wasn't about that. It was just about a regulation that was not being adhered to. That's all. I really enjoyed the race. I wouldn't hesitate to go back. How I would go back, I don't know.
Guys, thank you very much for your time. I'm sorry for my not perfect English today, but you know, we were rushing and trying to organize everything.
You should hear our Italian. You're fantastic.
No way.
I appreciate you doing it, because, you know, with everything that went on at the race, there's obviously a lot of stuff out there on social media, and that's really why I wanted to take the time and talk to you today, and it was great to have Joey here so we could bring him along and share his stories with us. So thanks for spending the time to do it and sharing it with everybody.
Always cool to chat to you, and watch out for camels, guys. Watch out for camels.
Okay, anyways, thank you. Ciao, guys.